Okay, we're doing the Danish Folkeskolens Afgangsprøve, the 1 hour paper from May 2019. So that's 50 short questions that we've got to get done in 1 hour. So first section, number and algebra. Okay, so it says exercise 1. Alma goes with 3 friends to a summerland, like an amusement park place. The table below shows the ticket prices for the amusement park. So you've got a 1-day ticket for 240 kroner, a 2-day ticket for 390 kroner, or a season ticket for the whole year for 625 kroner. And it says, what do 4 1-day tickets cost? So it's just asking you for 4 times 240. 240 times 4. Just do that. 960. Question 2. How much money can Alma save if she buys a 2-day ticket instead of 2 1-day tickets? Okay, so 2 1-day tickets would cost 480. 2 times 240. A 2-day ticket would cost 390. So it's asking for 480 minus 390, which is 90. Number 3, at least how many days does Alma need to visit the amusement park in order for it to make financial sense to buy a season ticket instead of 1-day tickets? Okay, well the question is then, how many 240s can you get out of 625? Let's just clear up some of the mess I've made here. Delete that and delete that. Okay, so 625. So if you take off, well, let's just count up 240s until they get to more than 625. That's a good way of approaching it. So 240, another one would be 480. Another one would be 720. So we're past 625 by the 3rd visit. So she needs to take at least 3 visits to the amusement park in order for it to make financial sense to get a season ticket rather than individual tickets. Okay, so we're on questions 4, 5 and 6 there. And let's just see how we're doing for time. So we're a little bit over 3 minutes so far, so I'm going to try and get a move on. Okay, below is a price sign from a kiosk. Special offer, 5 juices for 60 kroner, save 20 kroner compared to the normal price. What price is the juice if you buy 5 juices on the offer? What is the price per juice if you buy 5 juices on the special offer? So 5 juices for 60 kroner. So it's asking you 60 divided by 5, which is 12 kroner. What does 1 juice cost when it's not on the special offer? Okay, well, 6 juices cost 60 on the special offer. It says that's a saving of 20. Sorry, not 6 juices, 5 juices. 5 juices would cost 60 plus 20 if they weren't on the special offer, which is 80. So 80 divided by 5 is 16. Then 2.3, how many percent, what percentage do you save in relation to the normal price if you buy 5 juices on the offer? Okay, well, you're saving 20 kroner out of the original price of 80. So that's important to understand, that it's out of 80 and not out of 60. You're making the saving in comparison to the original price. So you're making a saving of 20/80ths times 100 to make it into a percentage, because a percentage is out of 100. And we can just kind of cancel some of this down. Well, you can see that 20/80ths is a quarter, so it's basically a quarter of 100, which is 25%. But so important to understand that it's not out of 60. So the wrong answer would be to say 33%. Okay, so we're on to question 7 in the whole thing. Just take a note of that, and we are well under 7 minutes. Excuse my cough. Okay. Oh, and this is in pounds. That's interesting. Okay, the shoes in the drawing cost 69.98 British pounds. The exchange rate for British pounds is 850.87. How many Danish kroner does the price correspond to? Put an X in the kroner amount that is nearest to the correct amount, and then you've got choices there. Okay, so we need to understand what an exchange rate of 850 means. And in fact, I'm just going to call that 850 for the purposes of approximation. An exchange rate, as expressed in Denmark, means the amount of kroner that it would cost to buy 100 of the other currency. So really, we want to know if 850 kroner is 100 pounds, then how many kroner would be, well, I'm going to call that approximately 70 pounds. So to get from 100 to 70, you would have to multiply by 0.7, one way of doing it. So what I need to do to get a good approximation is to do 850 times 0.7, which in fact would be the same as doing 85 times 7. So I'll just do a quick calculation of 85 times 7. 5 7s are 35, carry the 3. 7 8s are 56, plus the 3, 59. So I'm going for about 595 kroner. And of the amounts given there, 600 is pretty close, isn't it? So 600 is my answer. Okay, question 8 in the whole thing, 4.1 in the system there. So 2 bags of candy and 1 cola costs 40 kroner. There it is. 1 bag of candy and 2 colas cost 44 kroner. There it is. What does 1 bag of candy cost? Well, you could approach this as simultaneous equations. So you could say 2 slick, 2 candies, plus 1 cola, C for 1 cola, equals 40. 1 slick, 1 candy, plus 2 colas cost 44. Call those equations 1 and 2. If I multiply everything in, let's say, equation 1 by 2, then I will get 4s plus 2c equals 80. So that's just taking everything there and doubling it. And then compared to equation 2, which said s plus 2c equals 44. So the reason I've done that is to get the same amount of c in both equations, so that I can subtract the whole equations from one another. So 4s minus s gives me 3s. 2c minus c give you nothing, and the c's cancel out. And 80 minus 44 give you 36. 3s equals 36. 3 bags of candy cost 36. Divide everything by 3. 1 bag of candy costs 12 kroner. Okay, so that was simultaneous equations. Surprisingly hard for this level of exam, but perhaps there's a roundabout way you could get to the answer without having the same sort of elegance and structure as simultaneous equations. Okay, questions 9, 10, 11 and 12 are just some arithmetic. I'll just whiz through these quickly. 10724038, adding 2 plus 8, 0, carry the 1, 7 plus 3, 10, plus the 1, 11, 0 plus 0 plus the 1, 1, and 1 plus 4, 5, 5, 1, 1, 0. Subtraction. 701, 149 minus, borrow 1, 2, pay it back, borrow 1, 5, pay it back, 5, 552, 350 times 9, 350 times 9, 9 times 0, 0, 9 times 5, 45, 5 carry 4, 9 times 3, 27, plus the 4, 31, 3, 1, 5, 0, and 7021 divided by 7, 7021 divided by 7, 7 goes into 7 once, 7 goes into 0 no times, 7 doesn't go into 2, carry the 2, and 7 goes into 21 3 times, 1003. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, insert numbers, digits, figures, so that the expression becomes true. 40 plus something equals 50 plus 15. Well, 50 plus 15 is 65. So 40 plus 25 makes 65. 3.5 plus what makes 3.65? That would be 0.15. 80 divided by what makes 0.8? Okay, well 80 divided by 10 would give you 8. So 80 divided by 100 would give you 0.8. A third plus what makes 5/6? A third plus what makes 5/6? Well, we need to put everything into the same denominator. So I'm going to convert a third to 2/6. So 2/6 plus what makes 5/6? And then you can see that it's 3/6. So 2/6 plus 3/6 makes 5/6. Because when you add fractions, you just add the tops as long as the denominators are the same. And 3/6 is a half. So a third plus a half makes 5/6. Question 7. Exercise 7, which is actually question 13, 14, 15, 16. We're up to question 17 and 18 in the whole thing. What is the result of 72.5 times 0.2? Okay, well, the way I think about these is with a whole number first. So 725 times 2 is quite easy to do in your head. 1450. I'll just write that over there. 1450. So if we move the decimal to make it 72.5 times 2, that's going to shift the decimal a place on the answer, and it's going to be 145. And then 72.5 times 0.2 is going to be smaller still, shifting the decimal another place, so it's going to be 14.5. So there's your answer there. And then division. 18 divided by, so in Danish the two dots means divides, 0.6. Well, that's the same as having 10 times as much divided by 10 times as much. So I'm converting it from being 18 divided by 0.6 to being 180 divided by 6. And then 180 divided by 6, hopefully you can do in your head, because you know that 18 divided by 6 is 3. So 180 divided by 6 is going to be 30. But the key to any kind of division involving decimals is often to just try and multiply it up so that it's a whole number problem. Okay, so questions 19 and 20. Which expression has the greatest value put across? Okay, well the first one is 1 minus 3 squared, which is 1 minus 9, which is minus 8. The next one is 1 minus 3 cubed, which is 1 minus 27, which is minus 26. The next one is 1 minus, now minus 3 squared is minus 3 times minus 3, and minus times minus makes plus. So that's 1 minus 9, which is minus 8 again. The next one is 1 minus 2 cubed. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So that's 1 minus 8, which is minus 7. And then the last one, so you've got 1 minus, so this bit here is minus 2 times minus 2 times minus 2, which is minus 8. Minus times another minus is going to make it minus again. So the whole thing comes to 1 minus minus 8. And 1 minus minus 8 is 9, because the two minuses together make a plus. So the biggest value is the last one. Which number has the biggest value in the next question put across? Okay, well, it's clearly, comparing the decimal ones, it's clearly not the one that has a 0 or a 1 in the second place compared to the one that has a 9 in the second place. So not that one, not that one. A tenth is 0.1 and a hundredth is 0.01. So it's clearly 0.9. Okay, moving on to question 9.1, which is 21 in the whole thing. Write 40 as a fraction, 40% as a fraction. Okay, well, 40% means 40 hundredths, which can be reduced to 4 tenths, 2 fifths, 2 fifths in its simplest form. 12% of 250 kroner is what? Okay, so 12% means 12 hundredths. So you're doing 12 hundredths of, which is multiplication, times, I guess I should do it the Danish way and use the dot for multiplication, 250. 12% of 250, 12 hundredths times 250 on the top. So how are we going to approach this? Let's do the top first. So 12 times 250. I'm just going to scribble it over here. 12 times 250, except I'm going to flip it round and do 250 times 12. It's just a little bit easier to have the smaller number on the bottom. So 2 times 250 is 500. Then I'm going to do 1 times 250, except I'm going to stick an extra 0 there because it's really 10 times 250. 250 there, add them up, 3,000. Okay, so that's the same as 3,000 over 100. Few zeros cancel, that's the same as 30. 12% of 250 kroner is 30 kroner. Okay, so I'm just going to tidy up that lot. Give myself a bit of space. 20% of an amount is 125. the whole amount is what? So you've got to read that question carefully, because if you misread it, you might think you're being asked what is 20% of 125 kroner, but you're not. It's saying 20% of the amount, whatever it is 125 kroner. We want to know what the whole amount is, which would be 100%. So 20% is 125 kroner. 100% is how much? So to get from 20 to 100, you multiply by 5. So we've got to do 125 times 5, which quickly in my head is 625 kroner. So the whole amount is 625 kroner, because that's what 100% would be if 20% is 125. Okay, so we're now up to question 24, and we're nearly halfway through. Looking at the time, I'm up to just over 21 minutes. So I'm on course here. Just take a sip of my water at this point, I think. Okay, exercise 10.1, number 24 in the whole thing. Excuse my cough. What was I going to do? Delete that lot, wasn't I? Delete that. Okay, the sketch below shows an octagon. Might not look like an octagon as you sort of recognize it, but it is an octagon because it's an 8-sided shape with all straight edges. But as is often the case in these questions, it's also kind of like a building block of different rectangles. And as usual, they're asking us the omkreds, which is the perimeter, the distance all the way around, and the area. Okay, so let's try and add up all the sides. So you've got a B there, 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 3 B's there. They very helpfully labelled it for you and without leaving any out. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 B's. And you've got 2 A's there. So 2A plus 8B is the perimeter, the distance all the way around the edge. Okay, I'll just get rid of that lot and tidy up a bit. Then you want the area. Okay, well, let's try and split this up into, let's say, 3 rectangles. You could do this a couple of ways. So this first strip here, that's A times B, so the area of that is AB. Then you've got this little strip here, so the length of this is B, not 3B because that's the whole thing. And the height of this bit is, well, the whole height is A, and then minus this B bit here means the height of the height of that bit is A minus B. So that bit there is B times A minus B. And then this bit here, the last bit, that's just B times A again. AB. So the whole area is AB plus B times A minus B plus AB, which we want to simplify. So multiplying this bracket out, B times A is AB, B times minus B is minus B squared, and then you had plus AB there. So altogether you've got 3 ABs, that one, 3 ABs, minus B squared. 3ab minus b squared. Just to kind of satisfy myself, I'm going to try doing that a different way and splitting it like that. So this time I've got b times b, b squared for that bit, b times b, b squared for that bit. That big one at the bottom is 3b along the bottom, and then along the side it's a minus b. So the area of the whole thing is b squared plus b squared plus 3b times a minus b for the big rectangle at the bottom. So that's 2b squared plus 3b times a is 3ab, and 3b, excuse me, 3b times minus b is minus 3b squared. So I've got a 3ab, 2b squared and a minus 3b squared, which together make a minus b squared. I've got the same answer doing it the other way, which I absolutely should have expected to happen. Okay, well that was a little bit time consuming, so I am going to move on now. So that's questions 24, 25. We're halfway through, but we're up to nearly 27 minutes. So I'd like to be a little bit further than I am. A sip of water, and on we go. Solve the equations. 3x plus 1 equals 10. Take away 1 from both sides. 3x equals 9. Divide both sides by 3. X equals 3. Next question. 5x minus 3 equals 2x plus 18. Well, I've got x's on both sides. I don't like that, so I'm going to take away as much x as I can. I'm going to take away 2 x's from both sides to give me 18 on its own on the right and get rid of the 2x. But then I've got to take away 2 x's from the other side. So I get 3x minus 3 equals 18. I'd like to get the 3x on its own, so I want the minus 3 to disappear, so I'll add 3. But then I've got to do the same the other side. So adding 3 to both sides, 3x equals 21. And divide both sides by 3 to get x equals 7. Okay, so next one has got a fraction in it. So I'd quite like to get rid of the fraction first and foremost. So starting with 2 brackets x plus 4 divided by x equals 6. Let's multiply everything by x to get rid of the fraction. So if you multiply the x, then you'll just have the top bit of the fraction left. But then you need to multiply by x on the other side as well. So 2 brackets x plus 4 equals 6x. 2 times x plus 4 means 2 times everything in the brackets. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 4 is 8. So that's the same as 2x plus 8 equals 6x. Again, we've got x's on both sides. So let's take away as much x as we can from both sides. So let's take away 2 x's from both sides to get 8 is equal to 4x. So that's just taking away 2 x's from both sides so that we don't have x on both sides. And then divide everything by 4, x is equal to 2. 2 goes in there. And you can actually check to see if it works. So that would be 2 times 6 divided by 2, which does equal 6. So that's definitely right. Okay. So we are on to question, where are we? 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. I think this is question 29 in the whole thing. Okay, it says 9A have to go on a school trip. The price for the trip is 2,000 krona per pupil who takes part, per participant. The function f describes the relationship between the total number of pupils who take part and the total price for the journey, f of x. What is a correct expression for f? Expression or equation? Equation, I guess I mean. Function, I guess I really mean. Put across. Okay, so f is the... Oh, don't want two lines in that. So f is a function of x. That's just notation. It's no different from saying y equals something. And f consists of, so you've got the number of pupils, and they're paying 2,000 each. So 2,000 times the number of pupils give you the cost of the whole journey. so it's the first one. Each pupil's paying 2,000, so 2,000 times the number of pupils. Okay, losing track of the question count here. Okay, so it's your good old converting units. So geometry and measurement is the section. And it's just a question of knowing how many of one unit makes another unit. So meters and kilometers, anything with kilo is 1,000. There's 1,000 meters in a kilometer. So a meter is small, a kilometer is big. So there's going to be more meters. The meter number is going to be bigger than the kilometer number. So we've got to divide 2525 by 1,000. So that's 2.525. Deciliters and liters. There are 10 deciliters in a liter. Anything with deci is to do with 10. The liters are bigger, so there's going to be fewer of them. So we've got to divide by 10, 0.75. It's just a case of adding zeros or shifting the decimal a few places. Grams and kilograms. So anything with kilo is 1,000. There's 1,000 grams in a kilogram. The grams are smaller, the kilograms are bigger, so the kilogram number is going to be a smaller number. So I've got to divide 525 by 1,000, 0.525. And then finally, meters cubed and centimeters cubed. Well, there's often this question here to confuse you, because the mistake to make is to think that it's 100. But it's not 100, because 1 meter cubed is a cube that's 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. And if you think of that in centimeters, that's 100 centimeters times 100 centimeters times 100 centimeters. 100 times 100 times 100 is 1,000,000. So it's because we're in 3 dimensions, so we've got 100 times as many centimeters as meters in each of 3 dimensions. So 100 that way, 100 that way, and 100 that way. 100 times 100 times 100 is 1,000,000. Another way of thinking about it is think of a little centimeter cubed, so like dice, something like that, and think of a big removal box. So how many of those tiny dice could you fit in the big removal box? Well, you can fit 100 that way, 100 that way, and 100 that way. 100 times 100 times 100 is 1,000,000. 1,000,000 centimeters cubed in a meter cubed. Okay, exercise 14. Below is a drawing of a solid figure. the figure's volume is what? Okay, well, it's a prism, by which I mean it's got a particular shape at the front and the back, and if you slice it anywhere along, it's the same shape throughout. And when you're working out the volume of a prism, it's just the end area times the length, 2 in this case, throughout that shape, throughout which that shape extends. The area of a triangle is half base times height. So a half times 3 times 4 is 6. The end area is 6. So the volume of the whole thing is 6 times 2, which is 12. No particular units expressed, so just 12 unit volume units. And then it asks for the surface area of the shape. So let me just tidy up. Excuse me. So we already established that the area of the triangle at the front was 6. The triangle at the back is going to be 6 as well. You've got a rectangle at the bottom, which is 4 times, well, we can see it's 2 because of the 2 there. So we've got 4 times 2 on the bottom, which is 8. At the back here, that one, we've got 2 times 3, which is 6. 2 times 3. And then finally we've got kind of this one here on the front, which is 2 times 5, which is 10. So we've got 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10. Just do that in my head. 18, 28, 36. 36 for the surface area. Okay, moving on. Okay, here is a sketch of a trapezium. Key information there, trapezium. That means we've got 2 parallel lines there. That's what a trapezium is. It says skizzer there, so in an English exam that would be diagram not drawn accurately. So you're not going to get the answer just by sticking your angle measure in these places there, because the diagram is a little bit wonky. So this 140 here, probably not 140 if you measure it. This 100 here, probably not 100 if you measure it. Okay, so let's try and sort this out. So we've got 140 here, and it's on a straight line. So that must be, if I can get this pen to work, that must be 40 in there because the straight line's got to add up to 180. We've got a right angle there. We know that because of the little marker for a right angle. And the whole triangle has got to add up to 180. So 90 plus 40 plus, well, it's got to be 50 to make that up to 180. And then over here, let me just tidy up a bit. So you've got a 90 there, and it's on a straight line. Straight line's got to add up to 180, so that's got to be 90 in there as well. That's 90 there. And we've got a 4-sided shape, a quadrilateral, and we know that they always add up to 360. So the 100 plus the 90 plus the 90 plus whatever that is has got to add up to 360. So I'm going to do 360 minus, so the other 3 add up to 280. So it's got to be 80. Okay, so just filling that in, angle U is 80 and angle V was 50. Okay, section 16, it says, on the sketch below, triangle ABC and DEC are similar. So ABC is the big one and CDE or DEC is the little one. So it's saying that these are basically the same shape, they've got the same angles and the same relationship between the sides, just one's bigger than the other. And it says that the ratio between triangle ABC and DEC is 3:1. So the lengths are in the ratio 3:1. The length of DE is 4, and the length of AD, so that's just from there to there, is 5. Question 16.1, the length of side AB is what? So side AB is that one there, from A to B. And that's fairly straightforward. It's just 3 times as much because the triangles are in the ratio 3:1. So 3 times 4 is 12. Next bit, the length of side AC is what? Well, that's a little bit trickier because the information that we have on the side there, the 5, is neither a length of the big triangle or a length of the small triangle. It's kind of the difference between them. So I'm going to do this by saying the whole thing there is CD plus 5. And we know that whole thing, CD plus 5, has got to be 3 times as big as CD on its own. So CD plus 5 equals 3 times CD on its own. I'm going to take away 1 CD from both sides to get 5 is equal to 2 CDs. And then divide everything by 2 to get CD on its own is 2.5. So that bit there is 2.5. The whole thing is 7.5, 2.5 plus 5. And then you can see it makes sense because 7.5 is 3 times as big as 2.5. And then the answer to the question, the length of side AC is 7.5. Okay, so that's that. I'm just going to clear up some of my mess. The area of triangle ABC is how many times as big as the area of triangle DEC? So the mistake to make there is to think that it's 3 times as big because the lengths are 3 times as big. But when you get up to area, you're operating in another dimension. And an area is always a length times a length. So it's 3 times as big in that direction or dimension, and it's 3 times as big height-wise as well. So in fact, the area will be 9 times as big because it's got to be 3 times as big for each of the dimensions. Another way of looking at this, of course, is to think about how many of the little triangle you could fit into the big one. So you can fit 3 in height-wise, and you can fit 3 in length-wise. So altogether you'd fit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The diagram is a little bit wonky, of course, because in an exam question they give you wonky diagrams so you don't just measure the answers. But you can fit 9 of the little triangle into the big triangle. 3 in 3 lengthwise and 3 heightwise makes 9. And that's a general thing that always applies. If the length ratio is a certain amount, then the area ratio will be that amount squared. Let's move on. Okay, the straight line M is drawn in the coordinate system below. What is the correct equation for it? Well, generally, the equation of a straight line is y equals mx plus c, where m is the gradient, or helning in Danish, and C is the intercept, or skæringspunkt in Danish. So the number in front of the x is the number that tells you how steep it is. This line is going one up for every one across. One up goes one across, one up, one across. So the gradient is 1, and then it's cutting at -2. So that number on the end is where it cuts the vertical axis. So y equals 1x minus 2, because the gradient is 1 and the vertical intercept is -2. You don't really write 1x, you just write x. So y equals x minus 2 is the answer, and that's the last one there. Which point lies on the line M put across? Okay, so we've got 2. Let's just tidy up my diagram again. Okay, so we've got 2 and -2. 2 minus 2 is there, so it's not there. 2, 0. 2, 0 would be 2 across and 0 up. That's looking good. Boom, boom. Let's just check the others. 2, 2. No, that's not there. -2, 2. That would be -2 and up 2 there. No. And 0, 0 is certainly not there. Okay, so 2, 0 is on the line. Okay, we're getting to the probability questions, which tells me we're sort of near the end. 5, 6, 7, 8 questions to go. How am I doing for time? Only about 8 minutes left. I had better get a move on. Okay, I've got more than 8 minutes left. Misread that. The Centre for Youth Research has asked a group of pupils from 9th class who would like to continue to 10th class where they would most like to go to school. The diagram below shows the percentage distribution of the pupils' responses. So you've got the same school as now, 10th class at a business school, a different Folkeskole or private school, 10th class school or efterskole, that's like boarding school. So about how many percent answered efterskole? It looks like about 36%. Approximately how many times bigger than the percentage of pupils that answered 10 class at a business school? Let's just read that again. Circa hvor mange gange større. Okay. About how many times bigger is the percentage of pupils who answered 10th class at an efterskole than the percentage that answered same school as now? Okay. So percentage that answered 10th class on an efterskole is 36. The percentage that answered same school as now is about 2.5. Okay, so 36 divided by 2.5 is approximately 144 divided by 10. So it's 14.4 times as big, which means it's about 13.4 times bigger. So I'm just going to put 14 for that, and I'm hoping there's a bit of leeway for error in that one. I think it's a badly worded question, actually, because if you think of simple example, 5 and 1, 5 is 5 times, now let's think of 50 and 10. 5 is 5 times as big as 10, So it's 4 times bigger than 10 because it's 40 more, so it's 40 bigger. It's 40 times bigger than 10. So I think it's sort of confusingly worded to say how many times bigger rather than to say how many times as big. Not happy with that question. I would be complaining about that question. Question 18.3. Approximately what percentage, how many percent more pupils answered 10th class school than another Volksschule or private schooler? Okay, this is a bit more straightforward. So that's about 28 that answered 10th class, and that the ones that answered another school or private school is about 18. It's about 10% more. Okay, onto a box whisker plot. So a box plot for a set of data shows you the lowest value, the highest value. It shows you the median, which is if everybody stands in a line, who is the person in the middle. But it also shows you the 25% and 75% values. So if everybody stands in a line, who are the people in the middle, who are the people at a quarter of the way along, and who are the people 3/4 of the way along. So it shows you the highest, the lowest, halfway along, a quarter of the way along, and 3/4 of the way along. Just tidy that up. So that means that the block in the middle is the middle 50% of the people, and then the top and bottom are the top and bottom 25% of the people. Okay, so with that in mind, the box plot below shows the distribution of the daily visiting numbers to a excuse me, amusement park in a summer month. So during the summer, the worst day they had was 4,110 people. The best day they had was 7,012 people. The middle sort of day, the median is 5,994, and then a day that was in their bottom 25% was 4,680 visitors, and a day that was in their top 25% of days, the cutoff point for that was 6,562 visitors. So the daily visiting figures varied between 4,110 and 7,012. 50% of the days, on 50% of the days, the visiting numbers had been at least 5,994. And how many percent, on how many percent of the days were there at least 4,680 visitors? So 4,680 visitors means 4,680 or more. So if that's, so percent-wise, if that's 0%, that's the 25% point. That's the 50% point. That's the 75% point. And then that's the 100% point. But we're looking at everything above the 4,680. So we're looking at the top 75%. So on 75% of the days, the number of visitors has been at least 4,680. So that's been quite a popular question over time, where it's kind of the bottom 25% cutoff point, but you have to realise that you're looking at everything above that, so you're looking at the top 75%. Oh, and we've got another question. I thought that was the end of it. Okay, the drawing below shows 5 jars with red and white balls. Asker has to pick a random ball from the jars. Pick one answer, put one X on each line. Which glass gives Asker the biggest chance of getting a white ball? Okay, so you've got 2 white balls out of 5 here, which is 0.4 chance. You've got 2 white balls out of, well, clearly more there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 out of 10 white balls on the second one. Just zoom in a bit there. Having a bit of trouble with this Apple pen. You got 3 white balls out of how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 out of 10 there, which is 0.3. You got 1 out of 2 there, which is a half, or 0.5. And then this one, you've got 1 white ball out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 out of 6, which is about 0.166 recurring. So the biggest chance of picking a white ball is the 0.5 in jar D. And you can sort of see intuitively, just looking at them, that all of the others have less than a half white balls. So without having to do any calculation, that's kind of obvious. Which jar gives Asker a probability of 1/5 of picking a white ball? Okay, well, we looked at this one. It's 2 out of 10, which is the same as 1/5, or 0.2. So it's B that gives him a 1/5 chance of picking a white ball. And that, I believe, is the end of the exam.